Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa and Internet World. How are you guys doing today? Welcome in. This is the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. I hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you're staying dry if you're in the Tuscaloosa, West Alabama area. We're getting a little bit of storms, but that is A-OK. Well, looking forward to a big, fun weekend right here around Tuscaloosa. Well, I'm going to make it fun. Hopefully, you guys will make it fun. We'll all have our own fun. We'll meet back together on Monday. What are we going to do for today's show? First, before we get into today's show, I want to tell you, of course, you're watching the Joe Gaither Show right here on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You're listening to me on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on Amazon. So I appreciate anybody and everybody who's watching us. You can leave me a comment on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, any of our social media platforms at Joe Gaither 6 on the social medias. You can send me your comments, questions, queries, and complaints. We want to encourage you to listen, and of course, to all of our other Bama Central Broadcasting Network podcasts. We've got our friends All Things Bama with Blake Byler, with Austin Hannon and Katie Wyndham. Yes, Blake Byler is with Blue Collar Unplugged. Blake Byler, Matthew Gibson, and Jacob Pickle. And take a quick timeout for Matthew Gibson, getting himself another internship working with the Atlanta Braves. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Jeff Wade? Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Roll Tide as well. Big props to Matthew Gibson, getting himself another internship working with the Atlanta Braves. So if you want to follow Matthew for all Braves coverage, you can do that as well. So there's our Bama Central Broadcasting Network, All Things Bama, Blue Collar Unplugged, and of course right here myself, the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com. I want to thank Cannon Claycomb for joining me yesterday. That was so much fun. Cannon driving back from Chicago to his hometown and really gave us 45 minutes about his career, the Alabama golf program, and just golf in general. If you enjoy the game of golf or want to get to know the Alabama golf program at all, you can look at that interview on all the platforms I just mentioned. That interview is sitting right up there from yesterday. And then on Wednesday, we were joined by Casey Poe. Casey Poe, 4-star offensive lineman out of Lindale, Texas, committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide in July. I really appreciate Casey Poe giving me 45 minutes of his time on Wednesday. He gave me that time in the middle of his two-a-days. So, he had just got off of one practice, was taking a break, and was about to go to another practice. So, literally, my man's was giving it to the Alabama family and you guys, the listeners, in the middle of his grueling day. So, we're going to have a fun Friday. Hopefully so. Appreciate everybody jumping in. Quick little programming note. If you hear a dog or cat in the background, I'm doing a little experiment letting the kids play today. Not in their cages during showtime. So if you hear that, that is what's going on back there. I love Miss Abby and Mr. Bruce. I just came in from a morning obligation, so those guys are not put away because they need to stretch their legs. If you hear them, it'll just be a little added flavor to the show. All right, so we're going to have fun, and we're going to talk about Alabama football. Duh. It just got started yesterday. The Alabama football team reported on Wednesday, had first practice yesterday. They will go back out to practice, I believe, in 35 minutes. And I don't know if they're going to be out on the outdoor today due to the weather. If the lightning holds off, maybe they stay out there. Maybe Coach Saban pushes their mental capacity just a little bit. But if not, they will be inside the Hank Crisp indoor facility, which is beautiful, and they can practice fully and freely in the Hank Crisp indoor facility. So we're going to talk about what we heard from Coach Saban yesterday. We're going to talk about we hit Nick's kids a little bit on Wednesday after the Casey Poe interview. We heard from Ja'Cory Brooks, Justin Aboigbe, and Deontay Lawson just now from the media podium. That's where I was at the in the indoor, the Naylor Stone media room. We heard from those three players and appreciate all of those players giving us their time, and appreciate the Alabama sports information directors making them available to us and having that was a nice little time for each of them. If you want to watch those in their entirety, you can look them up on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We've already posted those three media availabilities about 5-6 minutes minutes apiece. And then, of course, Nick Saban yesterday, 15 or so minutes at the podium. And so you can watch all that right there on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the BamaCentral YouTube channel. We're covering not only all things football, I mean, yes, all things football, but yesterday I was out at a little Alabama women's basketball practice. And so if you want to catch up with the women's basketball team, they are about to go to Spain. They're going to Spain, and so I got about 5-6 minutes with Coach Christy Curry, and about 4 or 5 minutes with Miss Sarah Ashley Barker and Loyal McQueen. Those can also be seen on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. Really, if you're not subscribed to BamaCentral on all our platforms, you're missing out on Alabama coverage. What do we want to start with? Okay, so Coach Saban, let's start with the quarterbacks because that's what everybody wants to know. Frankly, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't care about the quarterbacks anymore. I don't care about the quarterbacks anymore because I know how I said it, 2 weeks ago? The boring answer is in Coach Saban, we trust. But really, in Coach Saban, we trust. I know I've been on the Jalen Milroe train most of the summer, and if Jalen wins the job, I think you're going to have a good, solid quarterback. Look, whoever wins the job, I think you're going to have a good, solid quarterback because of the competition. It's not like Coach Saban brought 3 guys off the street, 3 high schoolers off the street saying who's going to win the job. No. Everybody, all 5 quarterbacks who are in the room right now all have skill sets and really qualities that Coach Saban likes and wants from his quarterback. It's just going to be, yes, who is, Coach Saban said it yesterday, going to take the bull by the horns? Who's going to grab the ball? Who's going to be the one to say, you know what, I'm the leader. I'm trying to lead everybody in the right direction. I'm trying to get everybody to adhere to the process. I'm getting everybody in and out of the huddle quickly and efficiently. I'm barking orders at the offensive line, making sure the wide receivers know where they're supposed to line up, this, that, and the other, and just taking general charge of the team. So that's what Coach Saban said yesterday. He said, don't ask me about the quarterbacks because the cake is still in the oven. He's going to use that cake analogy the entire fall camp. He's going to use the cake analogy the entire fall camp, and he's probably going to use the cake analogy through the first week, the MTSU week. No, the cake's still baking. The cake's still baking. Now, look, I'll be surprised if a starter is named before the Texas game. Can Coach Saban surprise me? Yes, he can. Coach Saban can come out on Sunday when the coordinators and coach meet and say, you know what? Player X is the starter. Boom, we've got it figured out. He could. I would be highly surprised at that. But look, Coach Saban can operate in whatever fashion that he likes to. And we will just observe and try to cover it as best we can. My expectation is that the competition between Milroe, Simpson, and Buckner will stretch all 3 weeks across the entirety of fall camp. Look, you're playing MTSU September 2, so you're right at like 28, 29 days away from that. Oh, yeah, so speaking Fitzpatrick, so you're 29 days away. You're 29 days away from kicking off, and I think Coach Saban's going to use all 29 days to decide who's going to be the quarterback. And so look, every time we meet with Coach Saban, you're going to hear the cake's still in the oven. The cake's still baking. We're waiting on someone to win the team. We're waiting on someone to grab the bull by the horns. This, that, or the other. That's really, look, you're going to get that same answer over and over. If you followed me on social media at all, you're welcome to, at Joe Gaither 6 on the Twitter machine, on all of the social medias. Before the press conference, I put up the little photo of the Nick Saban podium, and we're sitting there. And look, I hope you can pick up that I was being sarcastic with my tweet. I said that Coach Saban was going to come in there, name the starting quarterback, give out the depth charts, and talk all about the game plan for MTSU. No, that ain't Coach Saban style. That ain't what he's going to be doing. He's going to be keeping that as close to the vest as possible. Really, I think throughout the entirety of fall camp, and that is his prerogative as the head coach. So what did Coach Saban actually say yesterday? Yesterday, Coach Saban talked about the fact that back up to yesterday. His main thing when he opened up the press conference was talking about few plays make or break a season. Few plays make or break a year, and you never know. Obviously, you never know when those plays are going to come. The age-old adage: you got to play every play like it's your last. Coach Saban told the media that he got the team together and put on a cut-up tape of last year's season, putting on a cut-up tape from, hey, these 4 or 5 plays, you guys did really, really well during crunch time, and obviously we won these games during crunch time, but equally, these 4, 5, 6 plays, you did horribly. You did ugly. You botched. Coach Saban probably used a lot of colorful language when describing those. We won't use that on the program. But he highlights other just negative plays in close games. Obviously, look, I don't have to remind you guys losing to Tennessee and losing to LSU. Losing to LSU, I mean, both those games just drives you absolutely bat bleep, just drives you nuts from a fan standpoint because of the few plays, the 1 or 2 plays that could have gone the other way. I mean, goodness gracious. Brian Kelly says, "Oh, we're going for 2. We're make or breaking this to try to." I mean, I think Brian Kelly knew that he had Alabama on the ropes. Oh, we're going for 2. If we don't get it, then it's okay. We did our best here against Alabama. Look, Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs, the ball's right in your hands. The ball is right in Jahmyr's hands to put the ball down on the 5-yard line against Tennessee and hopefully just set up a chip shot kick for Will Reichert. No, you drop the ball and you end up turning the football over, and boom, Tennessee goes right down the field, and the rest is history. I don't need to remind you. Painful, awful, disgusting. And then not only that, 17 penalties in that Tennessee game, 17 or 18 penalties in that Tennessee game. Just mind-blowing execution in those games. Look, I know Tennessee fans are celebrating like they have never celebrated before, and I know LSU fans think that they probably are the kings of the West. Look, they are the kings of the West. They won the SEC West in a down year in the West. Let's all be honest. They won the SEC West in a down year, and yes, Tennessee did beat Alabama, but it took every bit of a miracle, a miracle for both those teams. To beat Alabama. And look, I'm not one to sit here. I will never sit here and say the refs did this, the refs did that. This game was rigged. This game was, anything like that. Nope. But what I will say is it just shows you how, after 99% of the losses, maybe the only one I can think of is the Clemson national championship game, the 44-17 national championship game that Trevor Lawrence, you tip your hat off. They blew Alabama out. But other than that, 99% of the games that Alabama has ever lost in the Nick Saban era have been Alabama issues. Oh my gosh, Johnny Manziel running around, making miraculous plays. Alabama issues. Yes, congratulations, Johnny. You won that game and won the Heisman Trophy. And the news that has come out today surrounding Johnny Manziel is rather heartbreaking. If you hadn't seen it, he apparently attempted suicide in, looks like it was 2016, when he was cut from the Cleveland Browns. Heartbreaking. I hope that you get everything worked out for yourself. But every time, even LSU 2019, Joe Burrow, the best team ever, blah, 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 the best team in the world, blah, blah, blah. And they were a great team. They are a great team. You had the Tua fumble in the first half. You gave up I'm pretty sure you gave up a punt. You fumbled a punt return. You had an interception. Like everything that Alabama, almost always all the losses are on Alabama. So to wrap this up and make it into a nice little point, Nick Saban yesterday, meeting with the players for the first time, shows highlights of here's what you guys did poorly in these close games. Here's the execution errors. Here are the penalties that you committed. Here are the turnovers that you committed. Now, granted, Did the officials blow the whistle too early on the fumble against Tennessee that probably could have set Alabama up to slam the door shut? Yes, I agree. I do think that is a reasonable argument. But the fact of the matter is we do not play with or against the officials. So Coach Saban emphasizing a return to detail, emphasizing a focus on play in, play out execution. Each play has a life of its own and appreciating the value of that life. Look, every single play, like you all think, oh, extra point, mundane, we don't care. you will care if that extra point snap goes over the kicker's head and it gets returned for 2 points for the other team. Like every single play has a massive impact on the course of a game. So, that being said, Nick Saban emphasizing the details, emphasizing the importance of every single play in the life of a game yesterday in front of the media. Now, he goes on and continues, and if you want to read everything that he said, you can read it right there on BamaCentral.com. Our Lady Katie Wyndham really did a great job covering yesterday's press conference. I was just kind of hanging on her coattails. She did a great job hanging on his coattail. Great job covering his press conference. So let's talk about funny thing. Coach Saban was in a funny mood yesterday. Coach Saban was cracking jokes at us, the media. Coach Saban, it seemed like he had I love you, Stephen M. Smith, touchdown Alabama, but he seemed like he already kind of had a planned joke on Stephen, and it came off beautifully. If you hadn't seen the press conference, about 11 minutes into it, Stephen M. Smith asked a good question, and Coach said, I thought you were going to ask me a Knicks Kids question. And Stephen was confused for just a moment. Well, yesterday you asked me a football question at the Knicks Kids event. I thought you'd ask me a Knicks Kids question here at the football event. He looked at him Coach looked at him deadpan like he was serious. And then Coach cracked up. He had his hand over his face. He cracked up, and he goes, I'm just kidding. And then he gave Stephen a great answer because he is a pro. Look, Coach is, I don't want to say mellowing out, but I think he's showing, I think he's starting to realize that you don't always have to be a hard ass in the media. You don't always have to, be abrasive, and I don't really think that that's a great word for him. I don't really think that's not really a good word. You just don't always have to be. It's not really combative, but maybe territorial with his information. Look, yesterday, Coach showing his personality at the end of the press conference, asking the media, "How did I do?" and smiling all big. I think Coach is really just realizing, or is really just moving into a stage of life where I think he's just trying to enjoy everything. I think he's trying to enjoy everything that he's built. People ask him, "Oh, Coach, when will you reflect? When will you stop and look and kind of enjoy everything that you've built so far?" I think he's doing that right now. I think Coach is showing us as a public, as Alabama fans, as people following college football, however you fall into, that you can not only maintain high standards for yourself, Coach is obviously doing that, but you can also have fun while doing it. I think Coach is showing, I think Coach has a lot of fun on the practice field, and we don't really get to see a whole lot of that because of the practice access. And that's okay, but I think he has a lot of fun in that area. I think Coach Saban has a good time in the meeting room watching film with coaches. I think that that's a place where he enjoys himself, and I think that Coach is really trying to show or find the enjoyment in dealing with the media. Look, we don't want to ask dumb questions. I don't want to waste your time, Coach. I don't want to, look, and I don't really want to expose your game plan. What are y'all going to run the wishbone this year? I'm not out here trying to figure out what the first 10 plays against MTSU are going to be. I'm not trying to burn you like that, Coach. I just want to tell the story of Alabama football. I want to tell your story. I want to tell your player story. And I think the Coach is really kind of starting to, over the last 2-3 years, really post-pandemic, lighten up and loosen up with the media. Look, it really struck me. Really struck me after the 21 national championship game, losing to Georgia, where Coach Saban stops Bryce Young and Will Anderson and brings them back on the podium and says, these guys really have worked so hard. These guys have really, given their all to Alabama and exemplified what the A means, exemplified what the process means, and basically given the fatherly stamp of approval. He said, I'm so proud of these guys, even though we didn't win a national championship, this, that. And golly, that moment to me was like, oh my gosh, Coach is showing his real side to the media. Coach is showing who he really is to the media. And so you saw a little bit more of that yesterday with the opening press conference of fall camp. Now, look, we're not out there for fall camp. They're not even in full pads yesterday. They're in helmets, and I think they were in shoulder pads. It looked like they had shoulder pads on, but they weren't. There were no leg pads on. It was all, acclimation, getting ready to put the pads on and getting ready to play real hard. And so look, yesterday it's hard to tell anything. So Coach Saban's not going to come in there and be like, "Well, we had a great practice. Well, we had a terrible practice." It's kind of a feeling out practice, and I think that was pretty well accomplished. Coach did compliment the players because, oh my gosh, it was brutally hot yesterday. If you are not living in the West Alabama area, I'm sure it's warm wherever you are. I respect your culture and your temperatures and all kinds of, whatever your climate is. But good gracious, yesterday was, oh, it was brutally hot. It was disgustingly hot. I mean, I was not doing anything physical. I was not doing anything physical. I was walking from the car to the through the parking lot to different places, not really doing anything. And I'm drenched in sweat. So for those guys to be out there for however many hours, I think it were 2:30 to 4:30, 2 hours or so. Golly, 2 hours running around in the heat, and then to top it all off, not only was it just scorching hot and humid, the sky broke open towards the end of the end of camp, or at the end of practice yesterday. They probably spent their last 10 minutes in a torrential downpour. You could hear it in the media room as we were waiting on everybody. It was just pouring down rain. And so I don't know, those guys probably thought it was awesome after the heat, but still just a mental thing, for the guys to overcome. And coach really complimented his players in their mental approach to practice yesterday, given the heat, given the newness, given that, okay, we're trying to get everything started for the new year. I think he was very complimentary of his players yesterday and their approach to practice yesterday. All right, so let's talk about what we heard today. And we'll kind of wrap this bad boy up at about 25, about the 40, 45 minutes or so today. That'll kind of be our goal. Again, you're watching the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. Follow us at BamaCentral.com. You can read all of our work. Everything that I'm talking about right now is pretty much written about on BamaCentral.com. You can check out my man Austin and Katie. I got a couple pieces up there myself if you want to read about that. But BamaCentral.com is the number one place for your Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, so today we just walked away from the Naylor Stone Media Room, and we heard from Ja'Cory Brooks, we heard from Justin Aboigbe, and we heard from Deontay Lawson. Three leaders on the team, three guys who did not get to go to SEC Media Day. So first time we got to hear from those three guys this year. And what did they say? Ja'Cory Brooks, look, most of the, okay, on the outset, all three of them didn't say anything spicy, which is exactly what the SIDs want, which is exactly what the Alabama football program wants. Nothing, no headlines, no bulletin board material for anyone. No Jeff Banks. Oh my gosh, I don't know if we've talked about that. Jeff Banks, the Texas special teams coordinator at Big 12 Media Day, saying that coming to Tuscaloosa is just like going to Kansas or Kansas State, but there's more people in the stand. I'm sorry, Jeff. You coached here in Tuscaloosa for what, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years? You know that 100,000 people in Bryant-Denny Stadium is a good bit different than the crowds that they're drawing at Kansas State and at Kansas. I mean, how foolish is that? Come on, Jeff Banks. All right, but getting back to today, Ja'Cory Brooks, Justin Aboigbe, and Deontay Lawson, all three of them, very complimentary of all their teammates. Anybody they got asked about, how about Johnny Player X and Johnny Player Y? Oh, Johnny Player X is working really hard. Johnny Player Y is working really hard. I like what he's doing. He's growing out there. Nobody really had anything that spicy to say. But what's interesting to me, and maybe it's coach speak, maybe it's player speak, maybe it's just your media speak. Ja'Cory Brooks gets asked about being the wide receiver one. Who's going to be the wide receiver one? Will y'all have a dominant wide receiver? And Ja'Cory says, no, we're not really looking for an alpha wide receiver. We're looking for a complete wide receiver room. And so I wonder, I kind of put a couple numbers together. You have to go back to last year. 2022, and then 2017 are the last two times Alabama has not had a 1,000-yard receiver in a year. Last year, obviously, Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton were your two leading receivers. I think they were just over 700 yards apiece. And then 2017, Calvin Ridley almost hit the 1,000-yard mark. I think he was at 950, 960, something right there. So he missed it by just a hair. Alabama's been throwing the rock to a dominant receiver for a long time. Well, it goes back to Julio. Now, Julio never didn't put up the monstrous numbers, get the monstrous numbers that some of the other receivers have, like Jerry Jeudy and Amari Coopers have had it throughout their time. Devontae Smith have had throughout their time. Hey, boys and girls. Hey, we're going to stop that. Yeah, thank you. Apologies. The kids are playing, and we love the kids, but that's all right. Okay, so so you don't have a 1,000-yard receiver for the first time since 2017, and you've often had a pretty main target throughout the course of your time here in Tuscaloosa, throughout Nick Saban's time here in Tuscaloosa. Of course, you have the year where Marquise Mays is probably your number one. You have the year where Ardarius Stewart is kind of your number one. And of course, you don't really have a dominant guy, but the teams look a lot different during that year. Derrick Henry take us to the promised land. This year, I think that you have a wide receiver room very, very similar to the 2018 wide receiver room. Very similar to the 20. To the 21, to the 21 wide receiver room. Look, Ja'Cory Brooks, you got to be the dog. You got to be the dude. Ja'Cory's going to be the most relied upon wide receiver. I think he has the best skill set of all of them, just as far as total skill sets, just as far as hands, route running ability, physicality, knowing what to do, consistency. I think he has the most complete package, but he doesn't have the most complete ceiling. I think Malik Benson, you've heard me talk about Malik Benson over and over and over again, has the best chance to impact games at the highest level for this Alabama team. What Ja'Cory highlighted today was wanting to have a complete wide receiver room. And so I picture you this. Play along with me for this. As the kids are getting out of control, and we're about to have to do a little pause. Picture me this. You've got Ja'Cory Brooks out on the outside. You put Jermaine Burton on the other side. You put Malik Benson in the slot, and you've got Isaiah Bond and Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice. You've got all kinds of just young wide receivers. Kendrick Law coming off the bench, ready to step in there. And then you got C.J. Dupree, kind of a pass-catching tight end. Not kind of, a real pass-catching tight end. Probably your first pass-catching tight end that you've had in Tuscaloosa since Irv Smith departed. Do you really need a dominant Amari Cooper type wide receiver if all the wide receivers are playing at the top of their level, at their capability? I don't know that you do. I think that Ja'Cory might be exactly right, because it becomes, let's be honest, when Amari was out there, everyone knew Blake Sims was trying to find Amari Cooper. And look, Amari was so daggum good, it didn't matter. Same thing with Devontae Smith. When Devontae Smith was out there, his senior year, his Heisman Trophy winning year, look, he had Jalen Waddle for a little bit of that season, but then he had the ankle injury against Tennessee. He missed 5, 6, 7 weeks or whatnot, and then came back for the playoff. But no, it was all Devontae Smith saying, look, I'm out here, and none of you mother bleepers can cover me. None of you guys can do nothing about it. And so you've had those guys at Alabama, and obviously it's been successful in the past. But imagine you go back to 18 and 19, when Tua and the rideouts were really, really getting cranked up, and you have Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and Jalen Waddle all together. It became uncoverable. It became absolutely uncoverable. It became, okay, do we load up on Devontae Smith? Oh, boom, there goes Jalen Waddle. Oh, do we load up on Jerry Jeudy? Oh, there goes Henry Ruggs for a touchdown. Hey, guys, we're going to be done with y'all. Apologies about that. I will have to clean that up in post production, but that's all right. We got to separate the kids sometimes when they can't get along. It's no big deal. I think it's going to be great for Alabama this year to have a wide receiver room that has a lot of good versatility in it, a lot of versatile skill sets that can challenge. Yeah, that can challenge the receivers. That can challenge defensive backs down the field. Yes, Jeff, that is a great transition point. Thank you very much. I think we get back to a smash mouth running the ball from Jeff Wade on the Facebook comments. Absolutely. Jeff, I think that's a great comment, and I think that's exactly where I want to transition because yesterday Nick Saban basically said that without saying that. He said that the running back room is probably the strongest position on the team as far as a depth standpoint. He highlighted Jamarian Miller, Roydell Williams, Jace McClellan, and Justice Haynes. Now, a little sidebar: Jamarian Miller with a little bit of a leg injury. He's missing a little bit of time on a leg injury, but he's going to be a-okay. Look, Jeff's exactly right. The wide receivers, they're going to be fine, but they're not going to be as needed as the last 5-6 years have been. I think that they're going to be a great, good room. And I think you got a very good mix of skill sets in that room. And you're going to have to play. Look, whoever's going to be blocking will probably get the first reps, honestly. So you got to embrace the run blocking. Embrace the new offensive philosophy, the Tommy Rees philosophy of we're going to run the football. And I think that's going to be the first thing we do. So for these wide receivers, Jacory, to talk about not having a dominant wide receiver, but instead having a complete wide receiver room, I think that really leans into Jeff, the running the football. Instead of, hey, I just got to run routes and catch the ball. No, I have to be a complete receiver. I have to up every area of my game. And so I do think that, Jeff, you're exactly right. Where Alabama is going to head back to a power running style of football. Let's talk about Deontay Lawson. Let's talk about Deontay Lawson because he met with the media today, and you can again see that on BamaCentral's YouTube page. We were over there. We were over there at the Naylor Stone Media Room. Here's what Coach Saban said yesterday about Deontay Lawson, and then Deontay spoke to the media today. Coach Saban, I'm happy with the group. This is the inside linebackers group. Deontay Lawson played really good football when he played last year. He was injured a lot of the time. He sat out spring and got his knee worked on a little bit. He had a good summer. He's got leadership. He has a good understanding of the defense. Jihad Campbell has made a really good progress. We've got lots of competition at the position. I'm pleased with the way these guys are progressing. They've made a tremendous amount of progress. We've had a lot of guys out in the spring, both outside backers and inside backers, so it gave a lot of guys opportunities to get reps. So we've got to get those guys back. We've got a little bit of leadership, and I like the experience that we have in the group, the inside linebackers. Deontay Lawson, I think Deontay is going to be your mainstay inside linebacker the entire season. I know Alabama pulled in Tresman Marshall. I know Alabama pulled in Justin Jefferson. I know Alabama still has Kendrick Law. And really just a plethora of inside backers behind them. But I think that Deontay Lawson's going to man one of the two inside linebacker positions, and you'll see Jihad Campbell, Justin Jefferson, you will see Tresman Marshall all kind of rotate into that second inside linebacker spot. I'm really excited about Deontay. Look, if you followed the program at all, you heard Ronnie Cottrell on our show, early June. You can look that up and listen to Ronnie Cottrell, Deontay Lawson's high school coach, talk about what kind of a player he is. Ronnie Cottrell said, look, if anything was ever on the line with football, any game was ever on the line, I wanted to make sure I was involving Deontay Lawson. I have been excited about this young man since he left Mobile Christian. I think that his athleticism, his length, his his body makeup is very, 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 very good, very conducive to the modern game of football, the modern defender. He has enough weight to him. He's got enough weight to him, I think, to bring the wood, but he's got lean muscle. He's a lean player to good speed. And really, you look at his hips, I think he's got nice fluid hips for a big man. And he's going to be, honestly, I think that he's going to be that next big headhunter through the middle. When's the last time you had a big somebody who's going to crack skulls through the middle? I mean, yes, Rashaan Evans, Yes, yes, Reuben Foster. But how long has it been since those two guys roamed the sidelines? No disrespect to Toa Toa, no disrespect to Christian Harris or to Mac Wilson, but it's been a minute since you've had a real enforcer across the middle. And I think Deontay Lawson is going to be that enforcer. Now, Jeff Wade, are you stealing my notes? Are you stealing my notes? That's okay. I'm happy to have you comment and happy to have you watch it and stealing my notes all you want. Bringing back Kevin Steele is the ticket. He absolutely is the ticket, and Deontay Lawson said as much. Deontay today said, "Okay, he's helping us. He's helping us understand the details. He's taking us back to the little things. The details and the little things are what Kevin Steele has really emphasized. And when we asked him today, okay, can you elaborate? What are the little things? What are the details that you're focusing on? He says turnovers." Getting to the football, getting all 11 to the football, turnovers, and reducing penalties. Well, shoot, if you gave that recipe to last year's team, hey, you up the turnovers by 10%, you lower the penalties by 20%, and you up the effort by 10-15%, get all 11 to the football. Last year's defense would have been insane. The attention to detail over the last couple of years, and sorry, it falls on you, Pete Golding. It falls on you. The attention to detail has just been not quite there. It's been good. It's been okay enough, but it's not been championship level. And so Deontay Lawson, to talk about returning to details, to talk about Kevin Steele establishing the little things. And when asked about the little things, talked about reducing penalties, creating turnovers, getting all 11 to the football, really understanding your responsibilities. I think that's music to my ears from an Alabama defensive standpoint. So look, we've got a big 3 weeks ahead of us. We have a huge 3 weeks ahead of us. What's on tap for Alabama next? I'm 99% sure tomorrow's Fan Day, correct? Alabama Fan Day. Fan Day 2023. Yes, tomorrow, yes, it's Fan Day. And you guys, if you are a member of Yay Alabama, you can get into and watch practice. Fan Day from 2:30 to 4:30. 2:30 to 4:30. It looks like okay. University of Alabama for 2:30 to 4:30 practice tomorrow. And I think you have to be a member of Yay Alabama to get in line for the autographs. So make sure you check out Yay Alabama if you want to get to the Fan Day tomorrow, or if you want to get to some autographs. I'll be there with my friends Austin Hannon, and we will we'll watch practice. I'm sure the coach will keep the practice as vanilla as possible, but that is okay. I don't mind. I'm just excited to see the team and to see actual action. I believe we probably won't see any more action in any other capacity until the team takes on MTSU. So Saturday we'll be doing Fan Day. We'll be doing kind of reporting what we see in practice, 2:30 to 4:30 over in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Encourage you guys to get out to Bryant-Denny Stadium, be a part of Fan Day if you guys can, if you don't have anything else to do. And then Sunday we're going to talk to both the coordinators. It'll be the first time, it'll be the only time that we get Kevin Steele and Tommy Rees all year long until, ideally, we make a college football playoff. Or then we'll get to hear from them again. If you guys have any questions or comments for Tommy Rees or for Kevin Steele, drop them in my social medias at Joe Gaither 6. You can DM me, you can tweet me, you can Facebook me, whatever you like on any of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Joe Gaither 6 right there. So that's going to be kind of our weekend plan. We're going to talk to Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele, and then we'll also hear from Coach Saban again. He's kind of going to lead the proceedings on Sunday, and that'll basically be our weekend. It'll be all Alabama football mode. Look, school starting, I think, in 2 weeks. Practice is already underway. We'll get full pads, I believe, early next week. I'm very, very excited about everything. So, look, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Stay dry. Try to get to Fan Day. Try to get to Fan Day on Saturday. Follow us at BamaCentral.com. Follow all of our Bama Central broadcasting podcasts. We've got myself, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We've got Blue Collar Unplugged, Matthew Gibson, Blake Byler, and Jacob Pickle. And we've got All Things Bama with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon. Of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Walsh runs it all. You can follow Chris Walsh at Writing Walsh on the Twitter machine. Let him know how good or bad I'm doing, and you can tell them to fire me or promote me, whatever you like. That is no problem. That's going to do it for my show today. You can watch us, as always. You've been watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. Tell a friend about the program. We had Cannon Claycomb, Alabama golfer, and Casey Poe, Alabama lineman commit, on the show this week. We'll try to bring some interesting guests to the show next week. So that's going to do it for me. I'm gonna get out of here. I got to write myself a recruiting rundown. Alabama, we're going to see oh gosh, I didn't even talk about recruiting. Tomorrow, Amari Jefferson, is he going to Alabama, Georgia, or Tennessee? That's going to be an interesting one. I think he's kind of fit third, 33% in all three categories. And obviously, we're watching KJ Bolden. KJ Bolden probably going to go to Georgia or Auburn. So we will keep you up to date on the recruiting front, as always, on BamaCentral.com. So thank you guys so much for watching. Jeff Wade, you the man. Thanks for commenting, man. Anytime, any day. We appreciate your participation and anybody and everyone's participation right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.